working with a power-seeking student.
The third primary human need is to feel independent and free. Students who consistently engage in power struggles are searching for ways to fill that need. Feeling powerless, they want to have more control over their lives. Dr. William Adler, author of The Will to Power, claims that virtually every human interaction has within it elements of a power struggle. His observations ring true not only in regard to relationships between adults, but also in relationships between teachers and their students. Teacher-student and parent-child power struggles are natural, normal, and even appropriate, especially when our young people are moving through those developmental stages when they're attempting to declare their personhood. As teachers, our role is to find safe, responsible ways for our students to feel more powerful. Teachers can take some of the rough edges off these confrontations by communicating to students that we value and respect them. Respect is demonstrated by soliciting their opinions, asking for their help and advice, then listening to them and showing genuine interest in their thoughts and feelings. The simple act of listening shows respect for students and provides them with a sense of power. Another means of easing the power struggle is to remove all the unnecessary issues. In regard to classroom rules, it's important to distinguish the trivial things from that which is important. Too many rules, especially those of an arbitrary nature, tend to break down class morale and create confrontations where stifled students seek more power. A student with an unmet need for independence and freedom will seek power in one of three ways: through confrontation, through revenge, or through avoidance behavior. Each of these behaviors is a power play, and teachers can learn to identify each particular power play by examining how the student's behavior is making them feel. Confrontation. By far the most common expression of power seeking is when a student becomes confrontational. The teacher can recognize this power play when the student's behavior results in the teacher feeling angry. Mr. Hammonds told Rico twice to quit putting his feet on the back of the desk in front of him. Each time Rico would stare defiantly at Mr. Hammonds and mutter, "Yeah, whatever," before slowly returning his feet to the floor. Then a few minutes later, he would put them back up on the chair. When it happened the third time, Mr. Hammonds felt himself getting angry at the boy's combative, argumentative behavior. Rico was intentionally initiating a confrontation. When dealing with a confrontational student, teachers must refrain from allowing themselves to lose their temper, which automatically hands their emotional power over to the student. A good course of action is for the teacher to keep from becoming involved in the power struggle by offering the student an opportunity to engage in some mutual problem solving. "Rico, we've got a problem here, and I know that together you and I can solve it. Either please put your feet down, or else let's move your desk up to the front row. That way you can stretch your legs out as far as you like. Or do you have another suggestion for us to consider?" What's happening here is that Mr. Hammonds is offering Rico some choices. Mutual problem solving, with the teacher and the student working together for a win-win solution, is an effective way of allowing a student to feel that he has power. When dealing with a confrontational student, it is critical that the teacher not vent angry feelings or shout at the student or touch the student. That's so important, I'm going to say it again. When dealing with a confrontational student, it is critical that the teacher not vent angry feelings or shout at the student or touch the student. If a teacher shows anger, she's allowing the student to manipulate her emotions, and the student will feel tempted to bait the teacher in the future, just for the fun of exposing the teacher's lack of control to the rest of the class. Using a calm, rational voice, a teacher should use her conflict resolution skills to handle the confrontation. Revenge. If an ongoing power struggle results in a child's feeling constantly defeated by a teacher that he considers to be unfair, he may then resort to revenge. Children who seek revenge are convinced that they're not lovable or worth caring about, so they exert a sort of perverse power through making others feel as badly as they do. Teachers can recognize this tactic if the student says something cruel that hurts the teacher's feelings. Mr. Nelson taught speech. He thought he was helping Tommy to gain confidence in his public speaking by having him stand and read in class every day. However, Tommy didn't see it that way. One day when asked to stand and read, he yelled at Mr. Nelson, "You're always picking on me. I can't stand being in this class. You're the worst teacher I've ever had." Mr. Nelson was stung by Tommy's words. This form of misbehavior presents a particularly difficult challenge. Teachers who have been hurt and angered by students are tempted to retaliate, thereby establishing a revenge cycle between themselves and their students that is enormously destructive to their relationships. In order to help a vengeful child, we need to remember that the student's behavior stems from feelings of powerlessness and discouragement. Summoning up the maturity that is required of an adult, the teacher should remain calm and avoid the temptation to retaliate or to punish. Mr. Nelson's reply was to say, "Tommy, I'm sorry you feel that way. Please sit down. I'd like for you to come by my room after school and let's see if you can help me understand your feelings and your attitude." By encouraging the student to express his feelings in private conversation, the teacher can discover the cause of the child's pain and address it in a caring, empathetic manner. Above all, the teacher should continue to show goodwill and unconditional love and make every effort to reestablish a caring, nurturing relationship with the student. Avoidance behavior. When a student feels totally powerless and inadequate, he may simply give up and resort to avoidance behavior. Instead of doing things for himself, he will try to draw power from others by getting them to assist him. It's a common tactic of an attention deficit child. Having given up all expectations of ever succeeding, the student seeks to be excused from responsible behavior and attempts to keep others from expecting anything of him too. When Miss Evans asked Vanessa why she isn't working on her math, Vanessa replied, "I can't do the problems. They're just too hard." Miss Evans said, "You and I went over those same problems yesterday, Vanessa." Vanessa gave Miss Evans a pitiful look and said, "Well, I can't concentrate today because I'm sleepy, and also I hear people talking in the hall and it distracts me. Can you please help me again?" Teachers can recognize when a student is engaging in avoidance behavior because of their own feelings of despair and pity regarding the child's plight. They too will feel like giving up or throwing up their hands over the child's misbehavior. Despite everyone's efforts, the student remains incompetent and incapable. In helping a student who feels inadequate and exhibits avoidance behavior, teachers must avoid the temptation to do for the student. Instead, the teacher can break a difficult task into smaller, doable pieces that the child can handle. In the case of Vanessa and Miss Evans, the teacher said, "Vanessa, do the first 3 problems. Then bring them to my desk and we'll go over them together. Also, it's vital that teachers eliminate all criticism and focus instead on emphasizing the child's assets and strengths, encouraging any effort upon the part of the student to improve, no matter how insignificant that effort may appear to be. When a student is helped to feel more competent, the child will feel increasingly powerful and the avoidance behavior will disappear. Through listening to students, soliciting their opinions, eliminating all unnecessary elements from the power struggle, and extending the offer to engage in teacher-student problem solving, conflicts can be resolved and children can feel that they are valued and that their opinions and decisions are important. As we treat students as persons who deserve respect, we lessen the conflicts and empower them to experience the independence and freedom that every child needs and desires. And remember, the process begins with asking the question, what is the unmet need of this student? Address that need and the misbehavior will usually disappear. Let's take a look at our student misbehavior chart. What is the unmet need of the student? If the student's actions seem to say, "You can't make me do anything, I'll show you," and you feel angry, "I'm in control here, kid," then you're probably dealing with a power-seeking student. The student-teacher power struggle leads to confrontation. The student's unmet need is the need for independence and freedom. What can you do? Disengage from the power struggle, listen to the student, offer opportunities for mutual problem solving, avoid having unnecessary rules, and offer choices between 2 good solutions. What is the unmet need of the student? If the student's actions seem to say, "You never let me win, I can be as mean and cruel as you," and you feel hurt, "I want to get even with that boy, I want to retaliate and punish," then you're probably dealing with a power-seeking student. The teacher always wins the power struggle, and so the child seeks revenge. The student's unmet need is the need for independence and freedom. What can you do? Do not punish or hurt back. Use empathy to learn the cause of the student's pain. Continue to show goodwill and reestablish the relationship. What is the unmet need of the student? If the student's actions seem to say, "I am completely helpless and am not to be held responsible for anything," and you feel despair and pity, "I desperately want to help the poor girl, but haven't a clue as to how to go about it," then you're probably dealing with a power-seeking student. The student feels totally helpless and defeated and seeks to draw power from others through avoidance behavior. The student's unmet need is the need for independence and freedom. What can you do? Arrange small successes. Avoid doing for the student. Instead of criticizing, emphasize the student's assets and strengths, and encourage any effort that the child makes to improve.